Today, Griffin Post and I are headed out into the Wyoming range to try and find some late season snow. This is my favorite part of working at onX, is seeing how the pros are using onX Backcountry in the field. Hey.
What is up?
How's it going?
Good. Stoked to walk through all the different features and the ones that like really come in handy, especially this time of year, like the recent imagery and the route planning, because I'm not gonna lie, I've been known to sandbag some people, but at least if I like can plan out the exact route, you have a better idea of what we're getting into. Yeah, it's funny, like looking at my map, like how many waypoints I have like all over this corner of Wyoming, but this entire range has like nothing. And so that's what I was immediately drawn towards. And so this McDougal Gap Road gets you to like 8,500 feet and provides some pretty good access to that like center portion of the Wyoming range. The recent imagery, you can definitely like see it's looking pretty snowy and it's been cold. So
yeah,
being able to have that imagery from like possibly up to a week ago and seeing where the snow line is, what trails are melted out, what roads are passable, that in itself just gets rid of so many question marks. But this gives you the ability to make a really good educated guess on what you can access, what you need to bring, and what the skiing is going to be like. And from there I go, all right, what's the most realistic to access? And that's kind of what I liked about this section of the Wyoming range. The mountains look pretty rugged, but the access was, looks pretty feasible. It's not like we're spending an entire day getting into camp. It's like, okay, we can theoretically, I think, do this in a single push or one overnight. That said, I think it's important to, be flexible. That's one of my cardinal rules about e-scouting is like you make a plan, but just because you created this route doesn't mean you 100% have to stick to it. It's more just information for you. And should the conditions dictate something else, then you adapt. It'd be nice to camp at like the base of a line, but I think looking at some dispersed camping just 100%. With the weather and how far our approach is probably a good idea, because the last thing I want to do is go down a spur road and basically create my own camp. Because it's really damaging to resources. So anytime I can find these areas that have obvious signs of a lot of like camping traffic, that's kind of what I opt for. And this one I think would be a top choice just because we could literally walk from our camp, leave the cars there, and start if we do opt for McDougal.
Sweet. Well, let's throw this in a folder and share it out. Okay, it is now in my content. How about you say we download these offline maps and head to the trailhead?
Yeah, sounds good.
Sweet.
Looks like that dispersed camping spot we were looking at earlier is up here on the left.
Okay.
And then, that would make the trail right here on the right.
Oh my gosh, it's so close.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing I like to do before I set out is just start the tracker to see how fast we're moving compared to what I estimated. It's nice to keep an idea of how much ground you're covering compared to what you're estimating. And like a day like today, it's probably not a huge deal, but on like a longer trip, if I'm like, oh, we're gonna be able to cover whatever 10 miles today, and then by midday we've only covered like 2 or 3, then time to start like recalculating the rest of your route. So one thing I like to do on the way in, even if it's unlikely we're gonna ski a certain aspect, is just take a bunch of photos. And so add a photo like in the app and then save it. And that serves as a waypoint too. And so not only do I know like what I'm aiming for from the top, because it can be pretty confusing up there, but I also have a photo of what it looks like from the bottom. So I can be like, oh, that's the line I'm looking at. Like, yeah, I'm in the right spot, or nope, this like cliffs out. I need to be 50 yards to the skier's left or something.
Okay, sweet. This north-facing aspect actually looks super similar to what we saw on the recent imagery. Pretty accurate with this whole cliff band being exposed and not having much snow on it, but then hopping over this ridgeline that we're on now and being able to see this bowl covered in snow is kind of what we expected, but it's always exciting to see it in real life.
Reassuring there's actually
Very
snow there.
Yeah.
Woo! Nice one.
Thanks for taking the time to come out here and show us how you're using onX Backcountry in the field. It's really cool to see how some of the pros are using it and gives us a lot more insight.
Yeah, thanks for coming along for the journey. I was stoked to explore a new part of Wyoming, and glad we're getting one last ski mission in.
No, let's have some fun.
Do it.
It's the good part now.